All right, welcome to the virtual college exploration for all California students, sponsored by the College2Career fairs and StriveScan. Thanks for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. Attendees, you can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to the presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists and I cannot see you or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so please be sure to check out the full schedule at college2careerfairsconnect.org. This presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at the same website, college2careerfairsconnect.org. I'd now like to turn it over to our presenters.
Thank you so much. And hi, everyone. We're so excited to have you with us to learn more about North Carolina State University. Before we get started, I do want to share some information with you all and some introductions. My name is Frankie Miller. I work in the Office of Undergraduate Admissions. I'm also joined by my colleague, Ton. Ton and I are actually both alums of NC State. So we're definitely happy to share our student experience with you if you have any questions. But we'll go ahead and get started on some information. So NC State is located in Raleigh, North Carolina, which is the capital if you're not familiar. Raleigh is consistently ranked a #1 city to both live and work in, and it's also ranked in the top 5 areas for business and careers. I actually moved to Raleigh in fall of 2014 and have spent pretty much all of my time in Raleigh since then. If you've never been to North Carolina, it's definitely a great place. Raleigh's very centrally located, so we're about 2 to 3 hours from the beach, and then we're about 3 to 4 hours from the mountains. So it's really great for our students. If you ever have a long weekend or spring break or fall break or during the summer, it is very accessible to get around the state. This is a picture of our downtown, which is home to many great companies that a lot of our students have internships or eventually are employed with after graduation. You can see PNC and Red Hat in this picture right here, but downtown is about 1 to 2 miles from campus. It's nice because it's accessible to students. You can walk, you can take the bus, or you can drive, but when you're on campus, you don't feel like you're in the middle of a big city, which is very nice. We are one of 2 public research intensive universities, so we are located in Research Triangle Park. So we have a big focus on research. There are many different opportunities for you if you're hoping to have a research experience during your undergraduate career. We are also the largest public institution in North Carolina. With our undergraduate students, we're at about 26,000. With our graduate students, we are at about 36,000. I know that sounds like a lot of students, but I always tell students that's just a great way for you to get plugged in and find your home and great friends at NC State. So we have many different opportunities for you to get involved, and I'll talk about those a little bit more later in the presentation. NC State, we are known for our STEM programs. That's science, technology, engineering, and math. So that is what we are most well known for, but we do have more than 100 different majors for students to pursue. I studied communication. I was in the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, and about 43% of our students are not currently studying a STEM program. So while these are very popular, we do have programs for everyone, and we'll talk a little bit more about our top programs later. As I mentioned, we do have about 36,000 students on our campus, and so our campus is divided into 3 different areas. These areas are totally walkable. You can get between them by walking, by bike, you can drive, you can have a car on campus, but also we have transportation as well. But main campus that you can see on your screen right now is where you'll spend the majority of your time as a first-year student, because NC State does have a first-year live-on requirement. So you'll spend the majority of your time here. Most of our academic buildings are here, our residence halls, our dining options. This is our Tally Student Union that's a main hub for student life. There are many different student support centers in here. Upstairs, there are very big ballrooms where sometimes there are career fairs, the study abroad fair, and just different offices and places to study for students. This also is where our main campus is, where our health center is, our Carmichael Gymnasium, and also our counseling center. Next, we have our Centennial Campus, which is home to our Wilson College of Textiles and our College of Engineering. While these 2 colleges are on Centennial Campus, it's not exclusive to those 2 colleges, as we do have a variety of programs and academic buildings that will interest students from all of our different academic programs. This is also primarily a research campus, so there are more than 70 different government, industry, and nonprofit partners over on this campus. So what that means for you as a prospective student is this is a really great networking opportunity. Each year, there are about 300 graduates from NC State that are hired by these nonprofit partners. And just to name a few of them, there's the North Carolina Wildlife Commission, the National Weather Service, Smithfield, and Haynes Brands. So across different industries, they're not all STEM, but that's definitely a great resource for students who may be over on Centennial Campus. Outside of academics, some fun things. Top left, we have our Lonnie Pool Golf Course. So if you're interested in golf and you want to play golf on the weekends or after class, that is a great opportunity. It's an Arnold Palmer signature course. We also have a professional golf management program if that interests you, so you may be spending some time over on Lonnie Pool. And then top right is our recreational Lake Raleigh. This is a beautiful place that students love to spend their time. You can fish at Lake Raleigh, but there's also a nice trail if you're interested in walking or hiking or biking on beautiful days like today in North Carolina. And then last but not least, a little bit under Lake Raleigh, you can see a building that our students love to say looks like a spaceship, and that's our Hunt Library. And Hunt Library is about 8 years old. It's one of our 2 main libraries on NC State's campus. And Hunt came about because students wanted a library where there was more room for group work and collaborative space, as opposed to a normal library when you walk in, you see a bunch of book stacks. So Hunt has won many different awards. It's nationally renowned, and the reason it gets so much attention is it's extremely tech savvy. What I mean by tech savvy is we actually have our very own Bookbot. This is the Bookbot. What the Bookbot does is it goes and gets your books for you. So on either side of the Bookbot right now, you see these metal casings, and they can hold up to 2 million books. Right now we're at about 1.8 million. So there are plenty of resources for students. We always say there's never really a reason why a student won't have a textbook because we have so many of them here. But because all of these books are down here in the casing with the Bookbot, when you go upstairs in the library, there are multiple floors, but there's so much room for group work. It overlooks Lake Raleigh, so there's a lot of natural light. There are beautiful seatings designed by our design students. It's very colorful, but then there are a lot of rooms that you can reserve as a student. And in these rooms, you can write on the tables. There are dry erase tables, there are dry erase walls, virtual reality headsets you can use, green screens, music recording studios. So it's really a great place to study. If you're someone that needs like audio or visual stimulation, definitely a great place. So if you ever happen to be on NC State's campus, we would definitely encourage you to check out the Bookbot and Hunt Library. As I mentioned, our campus is walkable, so the 3 different areas, they're all right there next to each other in Raleigh, but we do have our own transportation. It's called the Wolf Line, and this is our bus system to help students and faculty get around. And this app actually right here, Translock, was founded by an NC State student, and it's actually used at institutions across the country. So it started in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it's made its way across the country. But this app actually tells you when the next bus is coming and how full it is. At NC State, it's very normal to take the bus. Many of our students and faculty and staff take the bus. I took the bus a lot in college, but it's really nice on days where it's raining or it's really cold, or if you're running late, you can see the next time that the bus is coming, and you can make sure you're to class on time. Next, and last but not least, we have our Centennial Biomedical Campus. This is home to our College of Veterinary Medicine, which is ranked 4th in the nation. This is a graduate-only program, so unfortunately, you probably won't be spending too much time over here, but if you're interested in veterinary medicine, there's definitely the opportunity for research and exposure over on this campus. There is a working animal farm and an emergency vet hospital that sees about 20,000 patients a year. So if veterinary medicine is something that you aspire to be in, there's definitely the opportunity for you to learn more through this campus. A little bit off to the left, if you could see it, you would see our PNC Arena and Carter Finley Stadium. Carter Finley is home to our men's football team, and then PNC Arena is home to our men's basketball team, and we share that space with the Carolina Hurricanes for any of you that may like hockey. As I mentioned, we are known for our STEM programs and we are in Research Triangle Park. So we do have a lot of great employers that are hoping to recruit NC State students. And a lot of these employers that you see on your screen right now are frequently on NC State's campus recruiting our students, whether that be through career fairs or posting ads on our career portal. So you can see some STEM companies like you see Bank of America, Cisco, NetApp, Lenovo, IBM, and SAS. But again, you'll see Smithfield, that's one of those nonprofit partners or industries that I told you was on our Centennial Campus. And our Career Development Center does a really great job of connecting students, not only with internships, but also with post-graduation employment. So our Career Development Center, they're great over there. They will look at your resume. They'll help you with cover letters. They also do mock interviews and they can even dress you. So if you find yourself, you have an interview the next day and you don't have any interview attire, we do have a Wolfpack styled professional clothing closet that will make sure that not only do you feel your best for that interview, but you also look your best. And through our Career Development Center, we do have pre-professional advising programs. So at NC State, as I mentioned, we have more than 100 different majors. And when you look through our majors, we are happy to share a list with you. But for those majors, you won't see anything like pre-med or pre-vet or pre-law. That's not how our majors are labeled, but you are able to use our pre-professional advising program. And this program will make sure that you're taking all the courses you need to be competitive for when you graduate. So you'll work with your advisor to make sure if you need hours or experience, you'll be doing that during undergrad. So when you go to apply, you can be successful. Our motto at North Carolina State University is think and do the extraordinary. We encourage all students to think and do their best in terms of their coursework, but also in terms of undergraduate research. Many of our students are involved in undergraduate research. We actually have an entire database where you can look through and see all the opportunities that current faculty and staff are working on. If you're interested in doing research outside of your academic major or outside of the college that you're in, this is a great way to find out about other opportunities. And research occurs in many different forms. It doesn't have to be in a lab with test tubes, as you see on your here. We have it in all fields across all of our academic colleges. I actually did paid research while I was a student at NC State, and my version of test tubes was a voice recorder. So I was doing paid research with my Spanish professor. I was looking at intrusive vowels in the Spanish language. And so through those voice recorders, I was analyzing sound waves using Pratt software on my computer. And if you had asked me coming into college, is that ever something I would have expected to do? I would have told you absolutely not. But I took a linguistics class, I loved it, and then I was able to do great research. I presented it at a conference and I was also published in a research paper. So if you're interested in getting involved in research, NC State is a great place to be. With all of this research going on, it's not surprising we've had more than 170 startups and spinoffs come out of NC State. As I mentioned, Translock, that is our GPS tracking app for our bus system. That is one of those, but WebAssign, if you're familiar with it, we've had many different startups and spinoffs come out of NC State, and our undergraduate entrepreneurship program is ranked 10th in the nation. And a great resource that we have for our students that is great for entrepreneurship is our Entrepreneurship Garage over on our Centennial Campus. And this is a new feature to campus. It opened in the fall of 2019. But the e-garage is a space that many local entrepreneurs actually have their offices. So students are able to go here and collaborate with them, learn about what was it like to start your own business? Do you have any advice for me? But we also have maker spaces, not only in our entrepreneurship garage, but also in our different libraries. And so here you can use the 3D printers, you can make prototypes. There are a lot of different resources for you to think and do with your hands. So anything that you're thinking of will definitely help bring your ideas to reality. I would like to take this time just to share some information about what our campus was doing while we were closed this summer due to the pandemic. As I mentioned, we do have some nonprofit and different industry partners over on our Centennial Campus, and the Nonwovens Institute is actually one of them. And during this time, our Nonwovens Institute was creating fabric and distributing it to manufacturers for face masks for the COVID-19 pandemic. So also some of our graduate students in the College of Engineering were using our 3D printers to create face shields. So as a former NC State student, but also as an employee, it has been really great to see how our community has come together to not only support the state of North Carolina, but also states around. As even though our campus was shut down, we still found ways to give back to the community. If you're interested in having a global experience or studying abroad, we have more than 200 programs for you to choose from. A program that is very special to NC State is we actually have our NC State European Center over in Prague, Czech Republic. And this is a great experience if you're looking to study abroad, but you want the familiarity of home. Through this program, you'll be taking from NC State professors and being along your NC State peers, but you'll have a new country that you're studying in. So again, we have more than 200 programs. If you visit our study abroad website, you are able to sort by academic program and see, oh, business majors usually go here. So the sky's really the limit for study abroad opportunities, and there are financial aid and scholarship opportunities if you're interested in having a global experience. We have more than 700 different student organizations for you to get involved in. So just like in high school, we do have that opportunity for students. And we would love for you to pursue your passions, whatever it may be in high school. We would love for you to continue with that at NC State. We have academic organizations, cultural organizations, religious organizations. We have intramural sports, and we also fraternity and sorority life. So this is a great way to get involved and meet people, but it's also a great way to maybe even gain leadership experience. So while you're in college, obviously you may have internships, you'll be doing your schoolwork, but these different student organizations are a great way to apply what you're already doing in the classroom. I was heavily involved in my academic honor society and my sorority while I was a student at NC State, and I served on the executive boards in both of these organizations. And these leadership experiences proved invaluable when I was applying to jobs right out of college. I worked as a consultant right out of college, and now I work in the Office of Undergraduate Admissions. And employers really want to know, well, this is great that you learned this in the classroom, but have you applied it anywhere? Where have you practiced it? So getting that experience, whether it be in your internship or either in student organizations, this is just a great way to add to all the great things you're already doing and maybe even make some new friends. You're probably wondering how you can find out about all of those student organizations at once. You can visit our website to see. It's getinvolved.ncsu.edu. But also we have Wolfpack Welcome Week when you come in the fall for your first year. And so this is a great week. It's a week-long string of events that are there to tailor and help you transition to campus, but also introduce you to NC State and introduce you to the Raleigh community. So during this week, my favorite part is always the student involvement fair. Tally Student Union that I shared with you earlier, our big student union on campus, upstairs in those ballrooms, they have the student involvement fair. And all that are in different organizations are at tables sharing information with students like you just about what they do, what's a time commitment, what are the benefits of being in that organization. So it's really a great way to learn more about these, and at the very least you'll get a ton of free NC State stuff. At the very end of the week we have what's called Packapalooza. And Packapalooza is a big block party, so there will be a lot of local vendors out. There's usually a concert. We light our bell tower red, and then there are fireworks too. So this is a great way just to kick off the school year, but also to learn more about Wolfpack Pride. So switching over to the more academic side of the presentation, these are our top 10 majors from our most recent freshman class. As I mentioned, you may see some STEM programs, but you'll also see some non-STEM programs as well. But one that I would love to point out to you that you're probably like, what is that on the screen, is our Exploratory Studies major. And this is NC State's version of an undecided program. So through Exploratory Studies, you'll start here in your first year, and you'll be able to take different classes, but also work with your advisor to see which major is the best fit for you. By taking different assessments and doing different quizzes, and then you'll live right across from your advisor. Your advisor will be working with you the whole year to see, okay, when I get out of Exploratory Studies, XYZ college will be the one for me. And so to tell you this, students in exploratory studies end up in all of our different majors. So you really have the opportunity to go anywhere from exploratory studies and you can still graduate within 4 years. About 20% of our students enter in exploratory studies each year, and the advising programs within exploratory studies are ranked nationally. So if you have no clue what you want to do when you get to college, which is totally normal, a lot of students find themselves that way, Exploratory Studies is a great program for you to consider. I want to share with you the information that you need to have a complete application with us at NC State. We are available on both Common App and Coalition. We don't have a preference which application you use. We would encourage you to take a look at what schools are offered on each one and see whichever schools you're applying to, whichever platform they're on, definitely pick that one. As I mentioned, we do have an $85 application fee. This fee can be waived. If you qualify, you'll just need to have a conversation with your high school counselor and they can get that documentation sent over to us to have the fee waived. We do require your official high school transcripts, and this is also something that your school, your counselor will get sent to our office. And for 2021 applicants, so if you're applying for fall or spring 2021, we are test optional as a part of the UNC school system. So what that means for you is you'll be able to indicate on your application whether or not you'd like to submit scores. It is totally fine for you to not submit scores. For this year, test scores will only be used to enhance your application. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit, but I did want to share that information with you. We also have a required essay. You'll be able to pick from different prompts on Common App or Coalition. And we don't require recommendation letters, but we do accept them. Some important deadlines for you all to note. If you're a senior this year and you're going to apply to NC State, I would strongly encourage you to apply by our early action deadline, which is November 1st. If you apply by November 1st, you'll hear your decision on January 30th. And the reason we encourage students to apply early action is to take advantage of priority consideration opportunities with both financial aid and scholarships. Also, if you're interested in the honors program or the scholars program, you must apply by November 1st and you'll be able to self-nominate for those programs and answer a short question that way they'll be able to review during the application process. Also, if you're interested in a studio-based major in our College of Design or College of Textiles, that would be something like architecture or art design or graphic design. Please note that November 1st is your only deadline. So if you're interested in a studio-based major, I would encourage you to visit our website to see a full list of those, but also you can learn more about the timeline. So for studio-based majors, it is a little different. You'll submit the application, but you'll also have a 10-piece portfolio due and also a design essay. So if you're interested in any of those, definitely head to our website so you can learn more about them. Our other application deadline is regular decision. You'll apply by January 15th and hear back March 30th. Please note, neither of these decisions are binding, early action nor regular decision. So if you apply to NC State and you find out you've been admitted, you just need to let us know if you're coming by May 1st, which is our application date. We get a lot of questions as far as what we look for in prospective students, and at NC State, we review applications holistically. So what this means is we a variety of different factors before we make our decision, and there's never one reason why a decision is made on an application. But when we take a look at your application, first and foremost, we will look at your academic achievement. We like to see that you're taking rigorous courses at your high school. That could be AP classes, it could be the IB program, dual enrollment, so if you're taking college level courses anywhere, or honors courses. We like to see that you're challenging yourself, but that you're still doing well in the classes. We love to see A's and B's. Of course, we prefer more A's. As I mentioned, we are test optional for 2021 applicants. If you do choose to submit your test scores, we take self-reported test scores, and we'll look at your highest SAT or ACT composite score. We do not have a preference on SAT or ACT, and the writing section is not required. For this, if you are admitted and choose to enroll and you previously submitted self-reported test scores, we will then need your official test scores if you choose to enroll at NC State. Next, we do take into consideration your interest in the program you're applying to. Something that's different about NC State is we admit students directly into the program they apply to. When I applied to NC State, I applied for communication and I was admitted into that program. So I did not have to apply again while I was in college, which is really great. So pretty much what that means for you, if you're applying to NC State, you'll be able to select a first choice major and a second choice major. These are two different programs you would be interested in pursuing at NC State. So if not the first, you would go with the second. We encourage students to choose two different majors because if we find you're not competitive for your first choice, we would then review for your second choice. There is a required question that asks about your interest in the program. So if you pick two different majors, definitely write about both. So that way, if we end up reviewing you for your second choice, we know why you're interested in it. We also love to know what you're doing outside of the classroom. We know as high school students, you all are very involved. You're making a difference in your community. You may work, you may play sports, you may volunteer, whatever it may be. So please take this time to brag about yourself. Let us know all the great things that you're doing so we also know how you like to spend your time. But we do understand that COVID-19 has for sure interrupted a lot of what you've been doing. So there is an optional question on our application where you can share any information with our office about how COVID-19 has impacted you. You won't be disadvantaged if you don't answer that question, but if you want to share information with our office about that, you're welcome to. We also take into consideration your background and opportunities. So we understand no two high schools are the same. North Carolina GPAs, the way that they look are different than how they may look in California. So we look at you within the context of your high school and the different opportunities that are offered to you. We also, as I mentioned, we have the required essay, so we'll look at your individual story. This is a great way for you to share any unique experiences, anything you're passionate about, any obstacles you've overcome. So any information you think would help us get to know you better, we encourage you to share that information through the essay. Also understand that a big portion of where you're going to go to school is how you're going to fund it. NC State is consistently ranked a top 10 best value public institution, and we're also ranked #1 for return on student investment. So these are some of our scholarship and financial aid opportunities. And again, you must apply by early action to be considered. So again, that's our November 1st deadline. If you apply by November 1st and you find out January 30th you were admitted, you can then begin applying for scholarships through PAC Assist, which is our scholarship portal. It's kind of like Common App or Coalition, so there'll be a general application, but then there may be different questions depending on the scholarships you're looking at. If you're interested in seeing some scholarships we offer, their criteria, you can visit that link today to learn more about them. The Goodnight Scholars Program is only for students in North Carolina, so I won't spend too much time on that one. But the Park Scholarship is for any student from a United States high school, and it's awarded on the basis of scholarship, leadership, service, and character. You must either self-nominate or be nominated by your high school. And the Park Scholarship and the Goodnight Scholars Program are our most prestigious scholarships here at NC State, and they are full-year, full-funded. So if you're interested in any of those opportunities, I would visit their websites. The Park Scholarship does have a separate application that's also due November 1st. And I will add, test scores are not required for consideration for financial aid or scholarships as we are test optional. So if you don't submit test scores and you're applying for fall 2021, you won't be disadvantaged. You'll still be eligible for financial aid and scholarships. Speaking of financial aid, we do encourage all students to submit the FAFSA. It actually opens tomorrow, which is October 1st. We encourage all students to submit the FAFSA because it can't hurt you, it can only help you. You are able to accept or decline any funding you've been awarded. So we encourage students to submit the FAFSA by March 1st, which is the priority deadline. And a little bit of more information before we open it up for questions. We do have our biggest event of the year coming up in October. This is our open house, and it has moved virtual this year. So we would love for all of our students in California to attend. It's from October 17th to October 21st, and it's 5 packed days. So each day there's a different theme. It starts out with academic programs and colleges, so you can learn more about our different majors. So that's a great way to learn more about what we offer. One day you'll be able to connect connect with students. You can learn about financial aid and scholarships, but also different campus resources. So this is a great way if you're interested about learning more about NC State. Definitely register for open house. Registration is now live, and you can visit openhouse.ncsu.edu. That's all the information I have for you all, but I will share some more contact information as well. If you're interested in hearing more from our students or learning about what it's like to be a student at NC State, I would encourage you to follow us on our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter and Snapchat, and our student interns in the Office of Admissions actually run these accounts. So it's great for you to be able to hear what is it like to be a student, what does campus look like, and just different questions like that. But at this time, I would love to open it up for Q&A. So Ton will be helping me answer questions. If you have any questions, you can use the Q&A box, and we would love to help you learn more about NC State.
All right, thank you, Frankie, for the amazing presentation. So again, just go ahead and put your questions in the Q&A box. So until then, I will ask you some questions, Frankie. You mentioned that you were in the Greek life. Can you tell us more about what that was like and what that process was like when you are interested in Greek life as well?
Yeah, so our campus has about 13% of the population has gone Greek, and that's the typical fraternity and sorority life organizations that you may think of. But if you're looking at academic honor societies or things like that, about 40% of our campus is Greek, but that's not the traditional fraternity and sorority life. We have more than 40 different organizations across 4 different councils, so there are definitely a variety of opportunities for you to get involved. Our fraternity and sorority life system is fantastic. They're very frequently giving back to the community, but our women's organizations are the largest women's organizations on campus. So it's definitely a great community to be a part of. But as I mentioned, it's only 13% of the population, so it won't make or break your experience. I'm definitely an advocate for the fraternity and sorority life experience, but it's definitely just a way to get involved if you're interested.
Thank you, Frankie. So we just got a question. Do we have a dental program at NC State? And if not, maybe you can talk more about the pre-professional service program.
Yeah, so we unfortunately do not have a dental program, but as I mentioned, we do have really great STEM programs. So many of our students that are interested in maybe going to dental school, a pre-med track, a pre-health track, we have many different STEM majors that you may be interested in. There's never really one specific program that students that are interested in a pre-health track are supposed to do. We have biology, we have our life sciences majors. We also have a polymer and color chemistry major within our Wilson College of Textiles. And students are going into all of these different programs and are eventually going on to pre-health tracks. So while we don't have a dental school, we definitely would encourage you to take a look at our other majors. And you can even look at the degree curriculum for any of our programs through our website. So that will show you the different courses we offer. So that way you can see if that's something you'd be interested in.
Thank you, Frankie. So just going back to academics, can you tell us more about the class size, like what the average class size would be? And then can you also talk about double majoring and our minors and all of that as well?
Yeah. NC State's average class size is 35 students. So considering I said we have 36,000 total students, I always think that number is pretty impressive. But I will be very transparent with you. When you come in as a first-year student, a lot of your classes are going to be bigger. So especially some like Chem 101 classes or a Calc class, maybe an English 101 class. A lot of those classes may have 100 or 200 people. You might be in a big lecture hall. But as you move on in your major, many of your classes will be smaller. I took a first-year inquiry course my freshman year, which actually had 18 students in it. It was a sociology class. So NC State is very good about making sure that even if you are in a big class, you definitely have the attention that you need. So pretty much all of our classes are taught by professors, but we do have teaching assistants in a lot of those courses. So if you have a breakout session or like a study group, your TA may be there to help you if you have any questions or if you need assistance with the homework, whatever it may be. Our student to faculty ratio is 14:1. So again, with the big campus, that is also very great. If you're interested in doing two majors, so having a double major or having a minor, whatever it may be, that is totally an opportunity for you at NC State. As I mentioned, you'll only apply to one program. You'll be admitted into one program. So if you're interested in having a double major, that's something that you can do, but you'll wait until you're on campus and taking classes to talk about that with your academic advisor. You are able to have a major in one academic college and have a major in another. Your advisors will just work together to see what courses may overlap and figure out the best route for you. I had two minors at NC State, and it was a very seamless process to get those added. I talked to my academic advisor about it. I filled out a form, and then I was able to take those courses. NC State has a very heavy focus on interdisciplinary studies, so this does provide you the opportunity to take different electives and also even branch out of your college if you want to take some different courses.
Thank you, Frankie. That was very helpful. Okay, so we have another question. Do you think there will be athletics in fall 2021 semester?
That is a great question. I honestly do not know. Our campus leadership is working really hard to figure out what the spring and fall 2021 semesters will look like. Our NC State football program did play last weekend, and so we have been having some football games, so only time will tell. I would love to watch our sports play, but of course campus leadership is working very hard to prioritize the safety of our students and our faculty and our NC State community. But of course, as more information about that is decided, it will be shared with our current students but also our prospective students.
Thank you, Frankie. All right, can you explain more about the sports management program?
Yeah, our sport management program is in the College of Natural Resources. And I think something that's unique about our location in NC State, being in Raleigh, many of our students that may be studying sport management do have the opportunity to maybe get involved with our athletic teams or with teams in the area. So we are close, we're relatively close to the Carolina Panthers. We do have the Railhawks, which is a soccer team. We have the Carolina Hurricanes as well. So there are opportunities for students to get involved in sport management, but I'll also have Ton send you the information or the link to the sport management website so you can learn more about that too.
Thank you, Frankie, and I did send that link. So right now we don't have any questions, but I know that we still have a little bit of time left. So let's see, can you tell us some traditions that we have at NC State?
Yeah, that's a great question, Ton. I would say the biggest tradition that you all in California may have heard of is our Krispy Kreme Challenge. And what the Krispy Kreme Challenge is, it came about maybe a little over 10 years ago, and it was founded by our Park Scholar students. So they dared each other one day to run 2.5 miles from the bell tower to the local Krispy Kreme. The Krispy Kreme is a donut shop, and it was originated out of Winston-Salem, but we have one in downtown Raleigh. So they dared each other to run 2.5 miles to Krispy Kreme, eat a dozen donuts, and then run 2.5 miles back. And the whole part of the dare or the challenge was to keep all the donuts inside. So what eventually ended up happening was this became a tradition at NC State, and it raises hundreds of thousands of dollars each year, but they're not just crazy. A lot of students do it, but it's actually raising money for the UNC Children's Hospital. So people come from all over the country. It's actually listed in ESPN's top 100 things to do on a college campus. So I know one year the person that won the Krispy Kreme Challenge was from the state of Washington. So this is definitely a tradition on NC State's campus that gets a lot of publicity, and it's all for a great cause. So that's definitely great. Another thing that I would love to share with you is we do have our free expression tunnel on NC State's campus, and this is definitely a feature that I know a lot of our students love. So NC State's campus is bisected by train tracks, and through that we have 3 different tunnels. And so 2 of the tunnels are just normal tunnels. They're painted a solid color, but we have our free expression tunnel where students are spray painting all the time. So if you walk through the free expression tunnel every day on NC State's campus, every day it's going to look different. So a lot of student organizations, when they have an event going on campus, they'll maybe paint a mural. During homecoming, they'll paint a big mural. But it's a great way just to let people know about what's going on campus, but then it's also a great way to have free expression. So if you're ever on campus, definitely take a walk through there. It always smells like spray paint because it's always changing, and there are layers of spray paint for many, many years of this tradition.
Yes, and also this isn't a tradition, but we also do make our own ice cream at NC State. So I would say that once you're here, you have to eat ice cream no matter what.
Yes. Tan, will you share a little bit of information about like what you majored in and your experience at NC State?
Yes, of course. So I majored in international studies. I also had two minors. I had a minor in Chinese and business. So for my degree program, we did have an international study abroad component part of it and a foreign language proficiency. So that's why my Chinese minor was added. But I had to go study abroad to graduate, which is something that I do not regret at all. So like as Frankie mentioned, we do have over 200 study abroad programs. So I did go for a semester to Taiwan, and I was able to take classes for both my majors and for my minors. So that was pretty amazing. But then while I was there, I was able to pick up the language a lot faster because once you're in the environment, you're able to utilize it a lot more. So for me, being in international studies, everything was very flexible. A lot of the classes that I was able to take could come from different disciplines, and then it could actually go into my degree audit as well. So that's something that I really enjoyed. I was pretty much able to just kind of choose and pick whatever I wanted, and then, I could get credits for that. If you are in the STEM, I would say that it is going to be more structured, but if you want more flexibility, I believe that any of our social sciences and humanity courses are pretty flexible, but of course you do have electives built into your degree audit as well. And I think we can just ask one more question, which is just like, since we do have students from California, what do students do for fun here at NC State in the city of Raleigh or in the state of North Carolina?
Yeah, that's a great question, Ton, and you can of course hop on if you can think of anything else. I think Raleigh is really great because it is a big city, so we do have a lot of awesome museums downtown. There's a science museum. I live by an art museum here. So it's a lot of great places if you're ever just looking to like walk around one day and see what's downtown. There are a lot of great restaurants. There's great food, and we also have a lot of music venues too. Where I mentioned we have Carter Finley, that's where our football team plays, and then also PNC Arena. Being in the capital of Raleigh, we do have a lot of music artists come see us. While I was in undergrad, Beyonce played in our football stadium, so it's definitely a great place to be if live music is something that interests you. We also have a lot of beautiful green spaces. Right by campus, there's Dorothea Dix Park, and this is a beautiful grassy area. Many students love to be around this area, especially on beautiful days like today. So whether they take their hammocks out there, if you have a pet, of course you can take it there. So there's just a lot of great ways, especially if you're looking to volunteer or have internships. There are just a lot of different businesses that always are hiring, but also just looking for students to interact with.
Thank you, Frankie. Okay, so we do have one last question and we have 3 minutes left. So it's basically asking, what is the graduate and undergraduate percentage at NC State and what is the acceptance rate? And I'll find statistics for that as well.
Yeah, thank you. So again, undergraduate students were at about 26,000 and our graduate students total were about 36,000. So there's definitely more undergraduate students than there are graduate students. And as far as our acceptance rate, last year it was a little under 50%. I believe it was about 47%. And something that I did not mention that I definitely should is we review in-state applications and out-of-state applications the same. So at NC State, we are part of the UNC system, so our out-of-state enrollment is capped to 18%, but we are nowhere close to that 18% yet. So in our admissions office, your residency status is only used for tuition and fees purposes. So we'll review your application. We look for the same things in a student from North Carolina as we do from California. So we love our out-of-state students. We would definitely encourage you to consider NC State. I know I only have like 1 more minute, so I'll just give another little plug for NC State. Again, we're in Raleigh, North Carolina. If you're interested in learning more about our academic programs, definitely register for our virtual open house. It's openhouse.ncsu.edu, and this is a 5-day event about mid-October. But then we also have a lot of different virtual information sessions if you're interested in learning more about specific programs. We have student panels as well. I know yesterday we had one about students being from out of state. So if you're interested in learning more about the honors program or the scholars program or financial aid opportunities, whatever it may be, we do have these virtual opportunities that we would love to get connected with you all. We know you're far away, but we would love to connect with you further.
All right, perfect. And that is it. We're done. I'll hand it back over to you again.
Okay, thank you so much to both of our amazing presenters. And so students, when you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. This was just one of many sessions being hosted, so please be sure to sign up for additional sessions at college2careerfairsconnect.org. In about a week, you'll be able to find the session's recording, as well as any other session recordings as well at college2careerfairsconnect.org. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good night.